Yes, we can to justice and equality.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
I have never been a quitter. To leave office before my term is completed is abhorrent to every instinct in my body.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Political system, economical systems, how can they be an impact on economic development have been our discussion recently. There are additional elements that, in this exchange, in this discussion, remember, we are talking to each other, you watching this, you sharing this with other people. Put your comment. Through the comment, we can continue thinking through this. There is a big need of partnership between the public sector and then the private sector, especially in Africa, where we need to make sure that our development is not just a copycat. That partnership is key because each entity has to actually play its role. We always talk about principles. We always leverage on how our body functions in our co-creation of solution to community problems. We cannot avoid following the same principles. The eyes don't wake up one day, want to replace the ears. Each entity in our body does focus on playing its role. So the public and the private sector need to be working together. And what I'm raising here merely as a fact is a saying in some of our nations, right? Where the public sector tried to actually overwhelm the private sector. What do I mean by that? Imagine you have a situation where being in the public sector, they have access to some key information, some key opportunities coming. And that's where the conflict of interest come in. Then behind the scene, you build then an organization, a for-profit organization, because you know the opportunities that are coming. That is being totally out of alignment with the partnership between the public sector and the private sector. We have different scenarios like that can happen, but I'll leave it to you. Let us know in the comment. What are the type of partnership you see dysfunctional because of one entity trying to play the role of the other entity? The next thing also that we can actually explore, we can look at, is how supply and demand is used. In many of our videos, we spoke a lot about the importance of the balance between the supply and the demand. The big financial crisis in 2008, right, was really coming from imbalance between supply and demand. People tried to push the supply when the demand couldn't handle it. And there is a new movement about entrepreneurship being the solution of everything. We say it, we repeat it, we are all human being entrepreneurs. That doesn't mean we can build sustainable businesses. We are not all called to go out there and open businesses. Even you working within an organization need to find how you operate, need to find how you are in harmony with what you do, because you can be a creator. I love giving the example of Apple logo, for example. That came from a collaborator. Supply and demand. I think it's a big mistake how entrepreneurship is being pushed. First of all, to make it look like that's how sustainable business is developed. That's not true. It's a big mistake, second, to push supply, because that's what we're doing, pushing entrepreneur, pushing supply, but the demand is not there. The continent is full of young people. The continent is full of people who have to increase or raise actually their purchasing power. What are our strategies to be able to support that demand? Because again, supply and demand is a natural principle, is a natural process. When is in balance, it will always bring problem. It will always bring crisis. Then the development that we're looking for, we may not reach that. That's how some political system, then economical system can actually work in synergy to work on supply and demand. Not just on one side, not just on the supply side. The demand need to be considered because we're pushing the supply. If the demand is going toward imported product and services, the demand is going somewhere else, that supply one day will just expire or die. I see so many events where we're pushing actually local products. That's a great idea. It's dysfunctional. It's imbalanced. When you see all the people involved in pushing those local consumption, not themselves consuming those local services or the local products. That's where the partnership, again, the first element I mentioned, the partnership between then the private sector and the public sector is very key. Because you want it or not, there is a pride that we need to have in what we create. There's the representation of a nation behind what we create. If those nations doesn't support this, then we are in trouble. We show on our channel here, Maxwell, right? The product he made. He didn't need to go look for help somewhere else because supplies was there, but the demand was very supported. Was the partnership between the public sector and his project in synergy. Lastly, in the thought, in the discussion here, we need to remember the reality in Africa is different. The reality on the field is different. Many of the economical, right, theories that we have, right, have been founded by people who were attentive to community problem, from Adam Smith all the way to all the big names around economics that we have. They were just good observers of community challenges, community problem. How can we bring solution to that? We need to make sure we're not a copycat nations. We're not building a United States of Africa, right? By just copying other things and pasting. No. We need to take in account the reality of the field. I will invite. We made great studies. We have people who went to the higher education. But don't take your higher education just like the final, okay, the end to a mean. But make sure that when implementing that on the continent, you do take in account of the realities and maybe adjust. We speak a lot about this. Building a business is all about testing, measuring, and adjusting. So if we're testing on the wrong principles, it's normal that our measurement will be wrong. And we know organizations are out there trying to help to solve poverty. We didn't stop saying this. You cannot solve poverty when poverty is your brains. Just imagine all the people who will be out of job. Is an economical model that was built. So when they measure that with an agenda also in mind. So for those one who are in connection of our philosophy, our approach to human and economic development, how political system, economical system can play together, we wanted to share this element in this part of the discussion around that key topic. Because there is no development if there is no human well-being. There's no development if there is no growth in human wellness. Let us know in the comments, what do you think about political system and economical system? How can they be an obstacle? How can they be a blessing, if we can almost say that way? Thank you for watching. I'll see you in another video.